Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 9 of Ballistic Banter, where today we're going to be kind of jumping around a lot. We're going to be talking about a bunch of oddballs, some cursed guns that we know about, and just generally guns that we are not fans of. So, welcome back, boys. Hopefully it was a good week for y'all, and let's get right into it.
Long week.
It was a long week,
It
man.
was a very
It was a
long
very long week. I'm still living that long week down.
God. So Matt, we starting
Tommy.
with me?
Yep.
We're starting with me?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So at least on my side of the thing, I don't think, well, one of them might be cursed. Not all of my choices are going to be very cursed, but the gun that I wanted to start with is a gun that Matt has been, itching at me to talk for since we started this whole podcast. It's called the Verndl or the Verndl Holub model of 1867, more commonly known by historians as the Tabernacle rifle because of the way its rotating block would just, you have a thumb pad that you just push over and the chamber would rotate, you throw a cartridge in and round back. And interestingly enough, actually, the gun was conceived through what one would call divine inspiration. It's not exactly known whether it was Mr. Verndl or Mr. Holub himself who the brainchild of the idea was, but the story goes is one of them were sitting in mass one day in Vienna, as they were from Austria at the time, and they were sitting there just listening to the homily, and they noticed on the back of the wall behind the pews there was the tabernacle where the holy host is stored and is kept, and they noticed that it was a revolving door, and that action of the priest or the deacon just constantly rotating the door back and forth to open and close it really stuck with them. They thought, I could probably make an action out of that. And after about, I want to say, 2.5 years of development, the two men finally had a completed rifle, and this thing was borderline just stupid, like almost idiot proof. I mean, there's a story that was written in the English press about Joseph Verndl himself taking the rifle, throwing it out a 3-story building onto the cobblestone pavement, going outside, picking it up, putting another round in, and firing it downrange. And the only damage to the gun was just a few nicks and scratches in the stock. I mean, this gun from its very inception was just built to last, and last it did. In fact, there are stories of Austro-Hungarian troops carrying these guns from the 1860s into the front lines of World War I against the Russians. Unfortunately, for those poor old men who had to go fight a. Hey man, just because it point and shoots, I don't necessarily think I'd want a gun that old. Being the thing that keeps me alive in the middle of a war with machine guns, mustard gas, and airplanes.
Dang, you really threw it out. How many stories was it, you said?
Now, I don't know if this was hyperbole or not because, it's the world press, so take with that what you will. But the story goes is he threw it out a multi-story building onto and this is, 19th century Austria-Hungary, Vienna, so there's no pavement, it's all cobblestone roads. But they go outside, they pick it up, they fire 15 more rounds through the gun, and everyone's like, it's amazing how strong this thing is. And I mean, it really was.
Dude.
It was.
Did I ever tell you that reminds me of a story? Did I ever tell you the story of what my dad did to his Glock?
I mean, I feel like you could probably do the exact same thing with the Glock, but let's hear it.
Well, yeah, dude, my dad, when he was working Customs and Border Protection, dude, he was flying in Blackhawks, right, over the desert, and he threw his Glock from probably a couple thousand feet. I think it was like 3,000 or 4,000 feet he was up there. Tosses his personal Glock in the desert because he was so confident that it would be fine, and it was. Dude, he went and found it in the desert, ran some rounds through it, and the Glock was fine.
Hey, I wholeheartedly believe it. I mean, it's just, and I mean, that's the thing too. So again, a lot of people wouldn't know the name Joseph Verndl unless you're really into firearms history like I am. However, the name that you might be familiar with is OEWG, or better known by its location of Steyr. Joseph Verndl is the founding man behind what eventually becomes the Firearms company, and then later gives us things such as the Steyr AUG, and much, much later down the road. But for now, his entrance into the firearms market with his own design was a divinely inspired single-shot black powder rifle, which was very common for the era that it was adopted. And it's actually a very funny story about how that gun became the primary arm of Austria-Hungary, in the fact that the government originally adopted the rolling block. But the problem is Austria-Hungary was very behind on production means of the time. So the gun built in Vienna by this other gunsmith, and that was presented to the Kaiser Franz Joseph. He picked up the gun, it all looked good, pulled the hammer back, went to shoot it, click. Went to rework the action, click. And even though everybody knew, at least in the military, they're like, well, these guns clearly work. We just saw the American ones work. The press had a field day. In fact, some went so far as to say that a dangerous, unfinished gun was given to the Kaiser, and that one more work of the action could have led to the whole gun exploding and us being without our beloved emperor, which I think is kind of funny, but it's one of those it's one of those really interesting what-ifs of history where the Verdal almost would have been forgotten if that Austrian-built Remington rolling block, fails or doesn't fail catastrophically in the hands of the emperor. But in any case, I always find that story very interesting. That gun, like I said, divinely inspired, allegedly, is what would then become the gun that builds the arms empire that becomes, Steyr Arms, which survives all the way through World War II and into the 1970s. And to me, that's just one of my personal favorite. It's my personal favorite oddity because it's very weird because it's not a bolt action and it's not like a rolling block either, where you just kind of pull down the breech block, or like a Martini Henry even, where there's like a lever on the bottom. It's this weird like rotating thumb pad kind of thing. It's its own entity unto itself. But I think that's the cool thing about firearms is there's not necessarily one way to build a gun, although, as Garrett, I know you're going to be harping on, there are definitely ways that you shouldn't be building. You shouldn't be building guns.
I was on mute the whole time. Yeah, no, dude. Here's the funny part. When I'll throw back to like that whole building thing for the ARs, dude. I'll be scrolling on Reddit, right? Just extremely bored. I'll be looking at like the NFA page or like the AR-15 page, just because I have nothing else to do, right? And basically, I just want to torture myself. Have you guys gone on those subreddits yet?
I choose not to because I value my sanity.
Dude, you need to go check it out, because some of the things that people consider their builds are truly, truly shocking, dude. They'll put like all these red anodized parts from like Strike Industries or like blue ano, clear ano, and stuff like that. And dude, they'll call it like a personal build, right? They're just changing out like a buffer tube or whatever. But dude, it's some of the weapons you see on there are truly shocking. They'll get like a 6.5 barrel 300 blackout or something like that, and dude, they'll put like a 5 to 25 scope on there. Right, or they'll put like a bipod on it. And they're like, dude, like, look at my new build. This thing's crazy, man. I should have pulled some like specific.
Dude, that reminds me of the stories of that come out of Rhodesia and the Bush War, where the Bushmen would find these FALs on the ground of guys they absolutely murked, and they pick them up and they check the sights, and they're like, why are the sights turned all the way up to 3,000 yards away?
Yeah.
And the survivors are just like, well, isn't that how it works? You turn it up and the gun shoots that far? And they're like, no. just oh god.
Yeah, you guys need to go check out those subreddits, because I know Matt, you have a Reddit.
He spends more
I've actually seen you post in one of those Reddit things.
I'm only in one of those subreddits. It's called Plebe AR or whatever, and it's just people posting their absolutely cursed AR builds, quote unquote.
There's a couple Instagram pages that I follow. You guys should look them up. There's one that's called Your AR Build Sucks, and it's just
yep. Speaking of,
it's torturous.
Speaking of shitty AR builds, do you remember that one episode of Cursed Gun Images that Brandon Herrera did, where somebody took like a freaking pointed drill and put like Swiss cheese size holes in the mag well?
Oh my god,
it's so bad, dude.
Look,
They took a drill press with I don't even know what size bit it was, but they just hogged some holes in the receiver like that big. They put like 10 of them in the
You know why most AR receivers don't have lightning cuts in them anymore?
Because you don't need it.
They're built of polymer. They're supposed to be light already.
AR receivers being built of polymer, my dog, those are built of aluminum.
No, like the lowers. The lowers.
A lower being built of polymer? I mean, you can 3D print lowers and stuff like that. What polymer lowers are you looking at? I know they are out there. There's a couple.
But like that's like you don't see lightning cuts
God.
anymore because they don't need to be built of they don't need the lightning cuts anymore. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what really gets me is when people. I'm guilty of this. Actually, I haven't done it, but I've considered doing it. Is when people start to like hand stipple all of their Glocks or something like that instead of sending it off to somewhere like Boogeyman or Stiff Grips or Rocket City, dude, and they just botch the frame. There's this one guy on Instagram. His name is UBG. Is it UBG Bunker? USA Gun Bunker or something like that. He has a gun shop like out in Kentucky or whatever, but he just shits on people that do that, right? He calls them gunsmiths.
Yeah.
And
oh my God.
He has this
Wait.
one picture of like this cheese grate thing, dude. It's so funny, bro. You have to look up that guy's account. He's
Garrett, did you see the most recent cursed gun images from Brandon Herrera and the guy who's like
No, I need to watch it.
There's a clip of it and it's absolutely hysterical and I don't know what gun it is. It looks like the back of a 1911, but I'm not sure. But all of a sudden, the caption of the post goes, so I wanted to, grind down my slide a little bit so that I could put on like a sight rail or whatever. And I didn't know what I was doing, so I had my buddy do it for me. He said, don't worry, I got this. And do you think we've drilled down far enough, or do we have any farther to go? The freaking, the amount of steel they shaved off, they're halfway down the back end of the slide. Like, the little circle where the firing pin is that the hammer would hit is starting to be shaved away. Like, that's how far they just ground off.
I hope they learned their lesson. I'm sure they did. But that one might cost them some money to replace because there's probably no fixing that.
Just because Bubba and Ali Bubba have a blowtorch.
Just Bubba and Ali Bubba.
Just because they have a blowtorch, a soldering iron, a hammer, and a drill press. Just because they can, it's just like Jeff Goldblum says in the Jurassic Park. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Doesn't mean you should. Yeah, just because they have an acetylene torch doesn't mean you should.
Acetylene. Dude,
Shouldn't do it.
I have seen some.
We can leave that up to people who own High Points and stuff.
I have seen some
who own Caltex.
horrible work with an oxyacetylene torch, man. And
dude, that's bad.
And you know what the sad thing is? Using those things is not easy enough. So the fact that there are people out there who are still, like trying to get away with this, absolute just.
There's always going to be people trying to get away with it, Tommy.
I'm all for pushing the envelope, but you'd think they'd start to learn their lesson by this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna build a meme gun just so I can mess with you guys.
Are you gonna build?
Are
you gonna build a Keltec meme gun?
You're gonna get one of those PSA meme lowers that has the stupid text gone on them. Oh God.
Palmetto. Like the ones that
Palmetto sells quote unquote meme lowers. They have a whole category for it.
I know. I had a buddy who bought one of those meme lowers, and it was like the unicorn one. Right? So it said, pew, 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 or pew, 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 knowing damn well that thing doesn't have, a deep pocket for an auto sear. It's just engraved on there. That bugs me too. That's a little gripe that I have, dude. When people get the receivers, not a low shelf receiver, just a standard AR receiver that you can't drop anything into, and they have like the full auto selector engraved on there, dude. I hate that so much because it's pointless. They know damn well that they can't switch it to Burt mode, and they can't have fun.
Hey, it's not as bad as the AK guys who will just take a fucking Dremel or something and just try to cut in their own third switch. Like you remember that cursed crink that Ian had?
I think so.
That Brandon ended up fixing. Like literally, the entire thing was just nothing but nails hammered into this thing with a ball peen hammer and Dremel.
Oh my God.
Just nothing but Dremel work. The fact that gun could even shoot and not explode was unbelievable to me. But no, like
that thing was unsafe.
It was a virgin crink kit that this man just took a Dremel where he needed to and just razored in a third notch. Like the notches didn't even line up. That aside from that part, but he just takes it and he has this third, and he did it, and it was a virgin crink kit. It hurts.
I hate to say it. You hate to say it. You really hate to say it, dude. I hate people that do that. The whole meme lower thing. hate it with a passion. Right, one of my buddies, he got that unicorn one. They have like those Spikes tactical lowers that are all like Sparta, it's like freedom, more freedom, like exponential freedom or something like that for the selector switches. Dude, I fucking hate those so much. They're so ugly, bro. Just get a regular lower. That's all you have to do.
All right, we're pushing the goalpost too far. Can we make fun of Caltech?
Wait, before
because I hope
before we do that, I have to know, Garrett. How do you feel about when we go to those gun shows and stuff? We're looking around. How do you just feel about all those dealers selling all the anodized parts and like the big lineup? They're basically all colors of the rainbow of ARs. They're just. I think it's horrendous, especially one at the price point that they're selling it for, but two at the people willing to buy them. It just blows me away.
Here's what they do, and this is my biggest gripe about gun shows, right? Because one, you don't know who you're buying from half the time.
Nope.
Tommy, I don't know if you know this about me. I know Matt knows I'm very passionate about this. What's the right word? I despise. I strongly hate like red anodized parts and blue anodized parts, or like FDE anodized and stuff like that.
Oh,
right?
no arguments here. No arguments here.
Dude, it's disgusting, and it's cheap. It's like Chinesium crap. Too.
Yeah,
it's not.
It's not even good.
With the exception of Geisley. Geisley does anodize their parts, but they're not any wonky colors, right? They're black anodized, they're just tan or something like that.
Normal, proper.
Yeah, normal, proper anodizing. But yeah, dude, like. Me and Matt went to this Phoenix gun show, right? I think it was like Crossroads of the West.
Was this the one where you picked up your Garen from?
Yep, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Same day. Dude, you look around and you can tell like who the legit vendors are, based on like what they're selling and who the cheap vendors are. Dude, they'll label these ARs that they piece together or whatever with all these like red and blue anodized parts, a red trigger well, a red buffer tube, a red foregrip, they probably even have a red muzzle brake on there.
They're
hideous,
they're
right?
the kind of guys who watch the Fast and the Furious and be like, yeah, this is totally realistic. Like, this could happen.
Dude, Fast and Furious 9, that was sick, bro.
Dominic Toretto jumping across a freaking highway and hits the windshield of a moving car at 85 miles an hour. Doesn't go through the glass. Doesn't go through the glass. Doesn't break any bones in his body. Gets up and walks away.
That's because it's a documentary, Tommy.
You know why? Because
family.
That's what it is. But yeah, dude, like you look around and you see all these like red anodized parts, blue anodized parts from people who are like building a custom gun or something, dude. There's nothing custom about it, and dude, they sell it for like $1,500 when they slap those parts on.
I know.
They'll get like a piece of shit Anderson, right? Just a cheap ass AR. Which, if that's all you can afford, that's all you can afford. I get it, but just don't throw a bunch of ugly stuff on it, right? And they'll sell it for like $1,500.
Yep.
And it's people don't know any better. That's the problem. People walk around these gun shows who don't actually pay attention and stuff like that.
Well,
like,
you even see this. You even see this at some gun shops too every now and then, where you have these guys who are just trying to pass off this ash and trash stuff to these people who have very limited understanding of what they're buying. And I get suckered into this all the time, and I know I probably shouldn't, but like I can't help but not say something. Like I was at a gun shop in Nashville with my buddy, or we were at a range, and we're just biding our time, waiting for our lane to be open. And there's this couple in there, and they're new to guns, like they're like this is our only second time out here. We're actually looking at buying stuff, and they're looking around, and all of a sudden I heard the oh so cringeable words. So I hear that someone told me that like if I just wanted a cheap entrance into gun, Smith and Wesson or High Point's place to start. I'm like, no, and I literally just stop and turn, and they're like, did I say something wrong? And I'm like, I'm gonna be as polite as I can about this. I don't know who told you that, so I'm not gonna...
by the High Point, so you can learn your lesson.
So I'm not gonna try to offend anybody who might have told you this, but whoever gave you that information is just flat out wrong. And they're like, really? Do you have any recommendations? I'm like, what's your budget? And they're like, well, like they're like, it's like they're like, okay, like we have no problem spending the money in the sense, but like we just want to make sure like what we're getting is decent. I'm like, all right, come here. And I look at the guy behind.
So don't take his advice.
Yeah, so I look at the guy behind the counter. I'm like, get him a SIG, get him a CZ, pull him a Ruger and a Beretta, just to start. And they're like, oh wow, this is nice. What was wrong with the stuff that our whatever recommended to us? I'm like, just trash, just awful.
It's just trash. It's pot metal trash. And that can bring us into the actual topic again, is shitty guns, just in general.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
or just wonky guns, dude. And there's so many of them out there. Have you ever? I've done this before, dude. Have you ever gone to a gun shop and just acted like you don't know anything just to see?
I have a story. I have a story about that one.
Dude, it's fun.
I can't do it. I can't do it because I can't last long. Like I'm a good actor, but like I can't keep up the charade on this for too long because the urge to correct somebody is too strong. It's like and my aunt knows the story all too well. And Matt, I'm sure I've told it to you before, but it's like I was at this place up in Indiana called Copper Customs. They do a lot of like custom, rifle and barrel work and stuff like that, and they're really good gunsmiths. Don't get me wrong. No, like I'm not trying to disrespect this brand at all, but so we walk in there and Copper has not only a bunch of custom work, but they have a lot of surplus there as well. And so I'm, going up and down, eyeballing all the stuff that they've got. They've got a couple rifles in the rack. They've got a bunch of Lugers, a bunch of P38s and stuff. And my aunt's asked me a couple of questions, and I'm like, pointing some of this stuff out. I'm like, oh, that's a reasonable price, especially for what it is. And the guy behind the counter is like, oh, so you basically, you seem to know what you're talking about. And let me see. And he's thinking to himself, like, I can hang this kid out to dry. I'm gonna throw him a curveball. And he goes out on the back rack and he pulls off what's called like a Mauser HCS. It's like some 32 auto handgun that was adopted by a couple of like German police units and some other branches of the military during World War II. And this particular one was a Kriegsmarine model. And he hands it to me, and he's like, "Can you tell me, who this was for? Because all these guns were marked accordingly." And I'm like, "You wouldn't happen to have a magnifying glass, would you?" And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "Ah, crap, here we go," because like these markings are small. I mean, this handgun's like a pocket pistol, like it's not very big. But I'm looking on my end, and I'm like, "Well, it's either a Kriegsmarine or Luftwaffe." And he's like, "How the hell do you know that?" I'm like, "Trust me, man. Like, it's just what I do. It's what I do in my spare time. I study these guns, and I make sure that I'm not getting ripped off for something that someone's trying to pass off as more than what it is." My aunt and my grandmother are sitting behind me, just cracking up laughing. Oh God! But I can't play the part of the uneducated gun. I bet it's
Tommy.
hilarious.
I've told you the story about the sportsman's trip, right?
That distributor or that guy behind the counter needs to be fired immediately and never allowed to sell guns again.
Worse than that, in my opinion. But for those that don't know, several years ago, my mom was looking for a handgun because she needed a handgun while I was away down at college, and it was an interesting experience because one, she had hardly handled firearms, and I'm getting into the hobby, and I know quite a bit more than she does. But we go, and I've, shot a whole variety of guns up until that point. And the guy behind the counter goes, "Well, see, what you want here is this Ruger 22. It's just a little handgun with a little purple frame. It's ugly as hell, first of all. But because it's small and it's colorful, that's why he decided he wanted to sell it to my mom." He goes, "I could shoot someone's eyes out with this thing." And then I couldn't keep it together. I was with a couple friends. They know who they are, but they.
Yeah, and Garrett, it was one of those like Mark IV or Mark
It was a
VI
Mark IV.
models that guys use for comp shooting. Like we're not trying.
Disgusting. I hate those.
Yeah,
that's a good one for this episode.
Okay, but wait, let me finish. So obviously this is chambered in 22 LR, right? And so those are notorious for jamming, misfeeding, just not working, not doing the job. And they don't have any stopping power. I've shot 22 LR without hearing protection, and it's a little snap. It's nothing. Someone who's drugged out of their mind, you would have to put some really well placed shots, which is going to be very hard for someone very inexperienced to do. But as soon as he recommended it, I was like, my mom can't do that. She can't shoot someone's eyes out with the 22. She's barely handled pistols. She knows nothing about them.
Dude, what the heck?
And then he was getting all defensive. She's like, "This is one of the most popular cells that I have." I'm like, "Well, okay, well, your cell is not good." So we went to J&G gun sales or whatever, and a real gun dealer, not Sportsman. Sorry, Sportsmans. We're never going to get a sponsorship from you guys. Ever.
It's like Dick's Sporting Goods, dude.
Well, we'll just hope that Sportsman's Guide comes in instead, not Sportsman's Outdoor.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we went to J&G and we got her a Glock 43X, and for
as
one does, and it turned out to be a much better buy. And, 9
Imagine
mil,
that.
reliable, has better stopping powers, conceal. She felt much better.
All right,
with it.
now Matt's story has reminded me of my absolute favorite gun that I have not only read about but used in a video game as well. For those who have played Battlefield 1, the name Colibri will forever ring memes and laughter into you. So this gun was designed by an Austrian or a Hungarian watchmaker in like 1902. And the gun, I'm not even kidding, is half the size of my wallet.
It's tiny.
Like it shot a 2.7 millimeter cartridge from like an 8-shot magazine, and the only way you could hold it was like with your index finger and your thumb. And it's even funny, like even Battlefield 1 like remarks on how much of a meme this gun is. Like, so when the guy pulls it out, he like reaches into a pocket. The guy actually like makes a gesture of like looking at his hand, like, really, my gun is this tiny? This is what I have as my backup. Like they even like did testing on it in like the 1910s. They're like, this thing can't even penetrate bone. It'd be like getting stung by a gnat.
Dude, I used to use that thing in Battlefield 1.
Oh, so did I.
That's
It
one
was
of my favorite
hilarious.
games
It was so funny.
Dude, that thing actually kind of shredded if you knew how to use it. Okay?
If you did.
It was not bad. It was not bad.
It was amazing.
They buffed it up. They buffed it up with some power to, make it okay. But
was a
still,
meme.
it was funny, dude. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Dude, that'd be cool to get one of those, though.
There were like
That'd be really cool.
100 of them made, so finding them now is almost impossible. But it's hilarious. And again, the whole idea behind it was we're gonna let this be bought by like Victorian era women to put in their like side purses or whatnot, or like just inside like the front of their like that was the whole.
What's it gonna do? Give the guy a bee sting?
Yeah, exactly. Like that was the whole purpose of it. It was supposed to be a concealed carry for like women of the 19th century.
Hey, don't sleep
Like,
on bee
that's what
stings.
it
Those
was.
things hurt.
Whatever, dude.
Probably hurts more actually.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But yeah, the Ruger Mark IV, just a 22 in general.
God, I hate them.
Don't carry a 22.
No.
Don't.
I'm not.
You know what 22 actually really let
Which
me
one?
down? The Glock 44.
Really?
Yes, dude, the Glock 44 was a major letdown. To me, it was. I have one. Dude, that thing does not cycle very well. And, dude, I have problems getting that thing just to cycle in general, man. Like, it does not work very good. But, yeah, man, it's kind of weird, too, because the slide, it's not like a full metal slide like a regular Glock 19 would be. No,
It'd be too
absolutely
heavy.
not.
Like, I mean,
It
'cause I
has like aluminum rails or like steel rails, whatever it's made out of, but that's it, dude.
Well, I
The
mean,
rest of it's like a polymer slide.
Because
It's
I've
tricky.
got a Ruger 1022 takedown that I shoot all the time, but again, 22 LR is just so weak that it's like it's the same. You run into the same problems that you had, Garrett, with your 300 Blackout when you put your can on it. There's just not enough back pressure to cycle the gun, especially if you make the bolt or the slide too heavy. You're just even if you loaded it as hot as you could go for a 22 LR, you would still be struggling to get the right amount of back pressure to reliably cycle the gun. So I mean, that's just one of many reasons to never carry 22. Like ever.
Yeah, no. I'm just not a huge 22 fan in general. I mean, they're cool for kids and stuff like that, but I don't know.
They're just fun
Yeah,
little
I have
twink
them.
guns. They're just
I have them,
they're
but
just fun little
it doesn't, dude. It doesn't get my blood pumping like a 5.56.
I mean, if your number one home invader's a chipmunk, I think you'll be good to go.
Alvin,
Yeah, shoot.
Alvin, Simon, and
Dude,
Theodore are down bad after their music careers fell apart.
Yeah, exactly.
I have popped a lot of squirrels and a lot of birds with 22s, so I'm the last person to like shit on the caliber in general. But yeah, man. Yeah, not a fan of those Ruger Mark IVs, man. Those things are.
All right, Caltech. I want
Dude, okay, I was
to
ready
have
for
this
it.
discussion because if my buddy decides to watch this, he'll know who he is.
We'll recommend him to
should
watch
I-"
the episode. So
I'll send it to him. But
Send up what time it starts. Yeah.
just what is it? The 2000, the
The sub 2000.
the sub 2000.
the foldy
like-
boy.
It folds. Look how cool it is. It's a folding.
It's a folding 9mm piece of plastic, like
You know,
Yeah,
what
that
I think started this folding revolution. Everybody wanted the FMG9 from Modern Warfare 3.
the FH.
Everybody just wanted to click a button, do a quick flip with the gun, catch it, and just go.
Yep. Yeah, the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, man, that is, I think Brandon said it best. That is
A gun.
it's a gun that's
It's
ever
a gun.
been made. It's a gun that's ever been made, and it is quite possibly one of the ugliest gun that's ever been made, and probably one of the shittiest just in general. I mean, that thing is literally just it's a piece of plastic, right? And they almost tried to mimic like an HK slab. You know, you have that HK slab for the bolt release on the front. Well, dude, this one's like it's basically in the buffer tube. You can kind of think of it like that, and it's disgusting, bro.
It's terrible.
Someone at a gun shop tried to sell me a Kel-Tec Sub 2000, and I told him, I was like, brother, I know more than you. You know, I did the wrong swan. Yeah, I did the wrong swan.
Sir,
like,
I know more
than you. Yeah, dude. So
and again,
yeah, those things are disgusting.
Now this I don't care, and I don't care what anybody says when it comes in terms of aesthetic or reliability. I would rather stake my life on an AR 180 than a Kel-Tec Sub 2000.
Dude, AR 180s are sick. First of all,
They are.
Irish. Yeah, those things are cool. Kel-Tec in general, man, my dude, not a fan.
The
KSG is cool. KSG is pimping, dude.
And
KSGs
especially for
are
how
cool.
much they are, like $600 for a double tube
That's true.
fed pump action shotgun. Like that's not
true.
bad.
The DP12 is cool, right? My uncle has a DP12. That thing's rad, right? But pretty much every other gun that Kel-Tec comes out with, in my opinion, dude, there's some creative people. I mean, it's cool that they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, you know, just pumping out like another AR or something like that.
Kel-Tec doesn't
at
make
least
the
yet. Until they do.
Kel-Tec
But,
doesn't make the 1216 with the rotary mag, do they? Or is that someone else?
I don't
You know what
so.
I'm talking about? It's the
I
16
do.
shot shotgun with 4 shells per tube that you rotate the front magazine.
It's not.
Okay.
I don't think it's Kel-Tec. I don't know who it is, but I don't think it's Kel-Tec. I'm
Okay,
like,
I wasn't
90%
sure,
positive
but
on
that almost feels like a Kel-Tec design in some manner.
Of course, it feels like a Kel-Tec design. Look at it.
I know.
Dude. Yeah, that thing's not, dude. Not fans of Kel-Tec. At all. I know you aren't, and I know you
I
are.
would
Dude,
love to
they're
be a
ugly.
member of Kel-Tec's R&D team, though. Get paid
Wow,
that much
dude.
money to sit around and just.
That R&D team is something special. I don't know where they got them on the streets of Florida. Yeah, my dad has a shoot. What is it? It's like Kel-Tec tried to make like an MP7.
Oh,
right? Have
no.
you seen that one? You know what I'm talking about? It shoots check it out now. It shoots a 22 Magnum, right? Not even
Why?
yeah.
Why?
Beats me, right? It's a trippy looking thing. I mean, you can tell that they went for like the whole HK look, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it good, man.
Actually, so
Like,
this
at
is
all.
also, this is why we need to start our own firearms manufacturing company, because I have an idea for a new beast of a hand cannon. We're gonna put the Desert Eagle to shame, and Matt's gonna love this because it comes from a show that he watches.
Oh God.
All right, Garrett, are you familiar with the 458 or the 450 Castle cartridge?
I've heard it. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
So it's basically just another big bore revolver type of, it's not 500, it's not 44 Magnum, but it's just stupid powerful. But they only make revolvers for it. But there's a show that Matt showed me where the main protagonist has a gun that shoots. It's called the 450 Jackal, and it
heard of that.
And it shoots a 458 or whatever Castle cartridge. But no company yet, that's why I say this should be our idea, boys. No company yet makes a slide action semi-auto gun that shoots this cartridge. But now I really want to develop one.
Hear me out,
I
hear me out,
really
Tommy. We
should.
make it fold.
Should
We make it fold. Kel-Tec's just going, write that down.
Write that down. Oh my God, we make it fold. You know what we should do? We should make it out of plastic and make it fold. That's
I
what
think we should.
That's what we should
one
do.
up them. Just make it out of wood.
And then on top of that, we make it plastic, we make it fold, and then we put 2 barrels side by side. Right? That's something that Kel-Tec would bite
There you
on.
go.
I'm amazed
100%.
Kel-Tec never tried to make that double-barrel Desert Eagle from that. Did you ever see the movie The Green Hornet with Seth Rogen?
Sadly, yes, I have.
Remember the double-barrel Desert Eagle or whatever it was that
Yes,
the villain was
yes.
using? I'm amazed Kel-Tec or
Yes.
someone hasn't tried to make that yet. Because the Italians had made a double-barreled 45 1911. Somebody did. I forget.
I've seen that, dude. Do you know what the shit, dude? What's it called? It's basically, so I don't know who thought of this, but they deserve a Nobel Peace Prize, right? It's Tommy. I know you've seen this. It's the dude. It's an AR. It's basically two ARs welded together.
Yes.
Right. What's it called, dude? It's
I have no idea.
It's like it's some sort of snake, right?
Yeah, I think
but
so.
But bro, what the hell? That thing is crazy. I think Demo Ranch had one on his.
Of course, Demo.
That's another prime example.
There
Dude,
was,
people come up with some weird shit.
No, well, there was another company. I remember Ian from Forgotten Weapons had a video on this. It was an AR, but it was a thumb trigger AR.
Oh, dude, those are. I forgot who makes it. Thoroughbred armament, something like that.
Something like.
Oh yeah,
that.
I see those all the time.
So
Yeah.
I'll
I
say
see those
this.
all the time. Those are good for precision shooting.
Probably, but I'd be willing to make the argument. I'd be willing to make the argument solely on the grounds of just the way it's designed. So, and because people even tried this a while ago on like bolt action rifles as well, where like you just put a thumb trigger behind the bolt, and then you just go. Then their idea was like, oh, it'll be much easier of a trigger pull for someone who's like target shooting or whatever. But I just even like me fiddling around with like an AR or like one of my bolt actions, like I've tried it and I've even like gone through the motions of just having like a thumb trigger, a thumb pad behind it, and it feels weird to me. Like I know there are some people out there who will swear by it. I just can't see a world in where they make this system reliable and comfortable.
No, it's a wonky design for sure. I'll see if I can send you on Instagram. I'm pretty sure I know who it is.
Because I've
that
seen them
makes
before.
that.
I just don't know who the designer was.
They're kind of cool. I'd be willing to try one out. I can guarantee you right now I probably wouldn't like it. Unless I can put a drop-in POF trigger on that thumb trigger, I don't I don't want to Matt's Rise armament 2.5 pound.
I just want a Kalashnikov, Bren. That's all I want.
Oh God, Tommy.
We can't use mine to make it, but I want a Kalashnikov, Bren.
We can't use mine to make it, but we can use someone else's.
Well,
I'm gonna give you a hot take, Tommy. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
We're not going to use something nice. We're going to use like a Century Arms piece of junk in order to do it. Like you don't take
There we go.
you don't take a McLaren in order to make a Charger. Come on.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's a good way to put it, dude. I see a lot of people do that kind of stuff. They'll put all these like crazy engines inside the shell of a different car and just, they'll try to like race people on the street.
The guy who put if you put like a 2-stage supercharged 8 V8 in a minivan and just busted this
Yes.
F1.
Tommy, I was gonna make the
awesome.
Chrysler Pacifica joke, but it seems you've beaten me to it. I don't know if it was a Chrysler Pacifica, but
look up farm truck.
Yeah.
Look up farm truck. Drag racing, dude. It's
Yep.
this guy who got like some super old, like what is it, like a 50s truck or something like that, but some sort of like dynoed engine or some like supercharged engine in it, and that thing will beat a Corvette.
I believe it.
Dude, it's
God, I was just out to lunch today, and as I'm walking to the restaurant, there's a brand new it's not 2023, but it was like a 2021 McLaren something. Absolutely gorgeous.
Sauce.
Ugly bright orange. This ugly neon orange, but I wish I could.
and it had a Kel-Tec bumper sticker.
Dude, just
They
imagine.
had a high point bumper sticker.
Yeah,
on
just
it.
imagine driving a $200,000 car and swearing by Kel-Tec and High Point.
Kel-Tec USA. High point, man. That's what they should do, dude. If he has a high point sticker on his McLaren, dude, you should just replace all those parts with pot metal, like that
Yeah.
high point makes their weapons.
I feel like that man's driver's license needs to be revoked and his McLaren traded in for a Fiat, or not a Fiat.
Speaking, oh my God, Tommy. Speaking of ugly, right? You said you didn't like that bright orange, right? Speaking of ugly, I'm gonna give you a hot take, and I think I told this to you before. I know Matt knows this about me. What are your thoughts on the FM?
Oh God, you're gonna sucker me into this, aren't you?
I'm gonna sucker you into it.
So,
Go ahead.
I'll
Give me your
say
thoughts
it-
on the P90.
I'll say it like this: the idea of going back to the old West style of I have a rifle and a pistol that shoots the same cartridge is pretty cool. I've shot a 5.7. I've shot not an FN P90, but like a knockoff brand P90, and they're fun. They're cool. I will say though, the magazine is dumb because it's a pain to load.
Yes.
The magazine
Yes.
is horrible to load. And realistically, for what the P90 was meant for, you'd be just as good putting that 5.7 round into a scaled up MP5 frame, for example. Here's the thing. Is it novel? Yes. Is it fun to shoot? Yes. Is it perfect? Not.
I mean, it has more iron sights than most guns, so there you go.
That is true. That is very true.
I think it's like, what, 3 sets of iron sights on it?
I remember when I first picked it up and shot it, I'm like, where the hell how do you aim this thing?
Yeah, I think you can look down the left, down the right, and then down literally the middle.
There's a hole.
Yeah,
there's
a little
hole
pinhole.
Yeah, my problem with P90s is that one, they are ugly as shit.
Yeah, they're not attractive.
Dude, everyone who says, "Oh my god, dude, look at that P90," I get it. It's a super cool
it's
collector's
piece. It's a space
piece.
age gun, if anything.
It's a space age gun. That's what it is. I don't know where the hell that thing came from. Maybe we could look that up for an episode or something like that. But dude, FN did something wonky with that P90, dude.
Well,
honestly, God,
I know exactly
don't
where
like
it came
P90s.
from. It goes back to it was part of this stupid bullpup craze because the Belgians saw the French with the FAMAS and they're like, well, we want a bullpup. We don't want to be left out. And meanwhile, IWI is like, well, do you want the Tavor? They're like, no, we're going to design our own gun instead.
They should have said
Well,
yes.
wasn't it
Actually,
a part of NATO's trials for trying to get both a rifle and a pistol for getting in the same caliber?
Probably.
No, I don't believe so because here's the thing. So when the Belgians adopted the P90, it was specifically their counterterrorism forces. So the whole idea of something like the P90 was to have high speed, high penetration, stopping powered rounds, 5.7, fired from a pistol and a rifle, submachine gun in this case, but make the system as compact as possible. Because this is not long after Germany had their GSG-9 do a raid on some plane that got taken hostage. And think about that. You're moving in a very tight, very narrow set of fighting corridors. You don't need a 416 even with like an 8.5-inch barrel.
That's what the
I
P90 was actually adopted and used for. But I'm pretty sure the development was in conjunction with the NATO trials for trying to get a rifle and pistol in the same caliber because FN made a pistol, a 5.7 pistol, but they were not
5.7.
selected. But then they went on to use it, repurpose it.
Which is a shame because the 5.7 is actually, I'll never forget this as long as I live.
5.7's cool.
I got my aunt to rent a 5.7 with me and I'm shooting it, and again, 5.7s are stupid expensive. Like I'd rather just buy the Ruger 5.7 for like $800 than $1,350 for an FN pistol. And the Ruger 5.7 also shoots great. Don't get me wrong. The original 5.7 is better.
Dude, I'm sure it shoots the exact same, dude. I haven't shot either. I don't know.
But no, they're fun. But I mean, God, that price point is just absolutely ridiculous. Although I'd rather just have an FN TAC 45. That's just me, personally speaking.
Yeah. Say less, dude.
I know, right?
Yeah, TAC 45s are nice, bro. But yeah, man, that P90, not a fan. I thought I would get some sort of reaction out of you there, Tommy. Because
I get it.
It's just odd.
Well, and actually, so this is the thing. This is something I really want to do. I don't know if I ever have the money to invest in it, but I want to, because I saw somebody do this with a pump action shotgun. They turned one of their pumps into a Halo 12 gauge shotgun.
Oh God!
I want to take like a Tavor or a FAMAS, like not the chassis, but more like just the bolt and everything, like the setup, like the bullpup setup, and build like the battle rifle from Halo.
That'd be sick.
Or like the assault rifle from Halo, because those are all bullpups. Those are all bullpups.
Garantham's 50 cal is the sniper from Halo.
Oh,
you seen that one?
The Lynx.
His Bushmaster.
No, I'm thinking of something else.
Based off the Lynx.
Yeah.
No. It's a Bushmaster. Bushmaster in real life made it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he recreated it to be what is it, the Lynx from Halo or something like that.
No. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking. We were still on bullpup, so I was still thinking of the Lynx from Hungary that has the
GM6 Lynx,
yeah.
GM7 Lynx.
Yeah, M6.
That dude, talk about a fucking weird gun too.
I know that barrel
actually
extension is
that up.
weird. That barrel extension is so weird.
The one, what's the purpose of having a bullpup 50? Let's be honest. Why?
Memes.
Why?
The Hungarians are just like memes.
Yeah. No, dude, that is a meme 50 cal, 100%. I don't understand it, and the whole like the reciprocating barrel part when you're storing it or whatever. It goes from this big to that big. It's pointless. You know, the barrel like goes back and forth while you shoot. It's weird. I don't like it.
You know what isn't? You know what isn't mean 50 cal? Did you see Brandon Herrera's video on like that slab-sided 50 cal sniper that was used in RoboCop?
I think so.
I forget what it's called, but you talk about an ugly weapon, and I mean ugly. I mean, it looks like slab-sided sheet metal.
Oh God.
That's all it is.
I just want to see Brandon's. I just want to see his AK-57.
I cannot wait for the Mark III. The V3 is going to be so sick.
I just want to see it so bad, boys. I really do. I think about it like quite often.
And as soon as it works, as soon as it works,
he's gonna get it to work.
No, it's gonna be Brandon. We have an incoming telegram from Moscow.
Dude, yeah, seriously, he's gonna sell a fucking million of those, bro. If he puts those into production, oh my God, he's gonna make so much money, Tommy. It's disgusting. He'll never have to work. His kids will never have to work. Their kids will never have to work, bro.
I mean,
if he puts that gun into production, which
this is what the spirit of Mikhail Kalashnikov always intended.
Why put it
Dude,
into production when you could be the sole owner and just farm the most amount of content with it and be the only person that's able to do it?
Good. I don't know, man.
Well, because eventually the protections on it would run out. I mean, because think about it. So he's using a quad lug setup with a Barrett.
Is it quad? I thought it was tri. I thought he had tri-lug.
Maybe it is tri-lugs.
I think it's tri-lug.
But it's a tri-lug setup with a Barrett style magazine feeding into an AK platform. And so even though the patent on the AK itself is no longer a thing, well, it never was because it was just a Russian state-owned idea because there were no personal patents in the Soviet Union at least. But no, I mean, why would you not try to farm the money? Because I guarantee you there are Eastern Bloc countries who already make AKs who are like,
he's gonna do both. I'm sure. That would be.
Dude, that thing is so cool, man. All those 3D printed parts that he put out,
yeah,
he actually had all the stuff milled out now, like the trunnion, the bolt, and all that, dude. I just want to see it so bad.
Oh, actually, I was doing some research, boys. I figured out how the IRA got Barrett 50s.
Huh.
Apparently,
I think he went over that.
No, he didn't. It was a former employee of Barrett.
Oh, dude, no, that's right.
Who acted as the arms dealer for the IRA.
What a guy. Give him dude, what?
God.
The balls.
Dude,
the balls
just imagine being some poor Northern Irish guard or some British paratrooper just minding your own business at a checkpoint, and all of a sudden your armored vehicle just gets dusted by a gun that the U.S.
Barrett M82A1. Yeah. Bro. Good for that guy.
That is.
He's just making some die, dude. That's a side hustle, man. He's a pimp. He's a hustler.
Arming a borderline
his
terrorist cell.
I know. That's not the move, bro. That's so bad.
See, this isn't the 1920s where the IRA can claim to be cool. They were terrorists. Like, let's be perfectly clear.
Oh,
the IRA. This is not the IRA of Michael Collins by any stretch of the imagination.
No, dude, it's crazy.
But it's
crazy.
God,
nuts.
God, that is just. The man was the modern day Basil Zakharov, whatever his name was.
Dude, they need to make a movie out of that guy, bro. Dude, put him in the Lord of War. You know, another actual fantastic movie. One of my few Nick Cage movies.
I was gonna say Nick Cage is actually very good in that movie.
He does a good job in that one, dude. He does a good job in that one. He does a good job. I like it for the sole fact that homie runs guns. One of my favorite movies is War Dogs. You know.
Oh my God!
It's like my dream
that's
job.
another.
To do it legally.
Of course.
You know, none of the sketchy stuff. Yeah, dude. Fantastic movie. Tommy, I need to send you this link too because I want to get your reaction before we run out of time on this curse gun that I found. Do you have any other ugly ones that you want to talk about?
Oh, we forgot about the harmonica rifle.
All right, fill us in.
Oh. Do it.
So I forget who the designer of this was, but basically back in like the 1840s and the 1850s when the percussion cap comes out, repeating firearms are becoming more and more common, like either one-off designs or small serial production. And this guy, I'm pretty sure it was out in Utah, ironically enough, takes a flint percussion cap rifle and modifies the system where he basically cuts a hole near the breech and builds what effectively is like a harmonica, so it's about this thick, and it's got individual percussion cap nipples. Yes, that is the terminology, by the way.
Percussion cap
Nice.
titties.
Yes. And you could get different variations. Like there were like 6, 8, 10, 12, 15. And all it was is it was almost like a proto belt fed system where it actually had a lever arm that every time the hammer was recocked, the action would move the harmonica or the box one over, and that's they called it a harmonica because it looked like a brass harmonica. And I just think it's really cool because like it's just like it really shows that it's just ingenuity at its finest, right? I mean, just desperation is the mother. What is it? Desperation is the mother of all invention, something like that. People were just trying to come up with like new modern self-loading or rapid fire systems in an era where the technology was ever changing. And to me, I just think it's funny that like the system didn't last very long, but it's like when it's one of those like next stepping stones.
Okay,
Oh
Tommy.
God,
Matt, I sent it to you.
geez.
Matt, I sent it to you too. I know how much Tommy loves his STG 44s.
Oh,
right?
God.
He never stops talking about it. This is a particular variant that I found. We'll pop a photo on the screen.
You want me to talk about this? Because I know everything.
Go for it. Go for it. You know about that?
Of course I know about this.
know.
It's the
I
great.
need you to know.
It's the greatest thing ever. So interestingly enough, and there's actually a lot of argument about this because some people say the reason why this gun was invented is because the Germans had a tank destroyer during World War II known as the Elephant. The problem was they forgot to put a hull-mounted or a coaxial-mounted machine gun on this thing, so Russian infantry would just run up to these things, douse them in gasoline, light a torch, and then run away because the thing couldn't protect itself. So what the Germans did is they take this super heavy piece of steel, and they had two different variations of this. They had a 45 and a 90-degree angled barrel. That what effectively is, and the funny thing was, this would destroy the bullet. So the STG went from being a 30-round, assault rifle to a 30-round auto-loading shotgun, effectively, because it would just shatter the 8mm ammunition. And the idea was if you were in a tank with this thing, you could pop the hash, stick the barrel out, and hose the Russian infantry off. And you want to know what's even more miraculous, though? That gun actually could see around a corner. That ugly-looking big piece of metal on the top of the barrel is a mirror that the soldier would look through, and it would the way the glass was set up is it would actually give you the exact angle of the barrel around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't care how cool that whole mirror system is. That thing is cursed as shit.
Oh, it's ugly as hell. Don't get me wrong.
My boy, you cannot do that.
It's like the early generation German night vision sights. Big, clunkly, and you've never seen these?
I don't think I ever. Send me a picture of it when you find it. It doesn't have to be
I'll try to find one, and I want to flash a picture up of this thing because these things are like the gun becomes so top heavy because the Americans just took it and then built them under license. I mean, as we did with a lot of German things after World War II. Thank you, Operation Paperclip. And yes, for those wondering, America never had a United States rocket program. We had a German rocket program. NASA was just a bunch of ex-Nazis. I'm sorry, guys. Werner von Braun.
It's a proven fact. There's nothing to be sorry about.
It's a very well-known fact. We never had a rocket. Literally, the first rockets we were testing in Alamogordo, New Mexico, at Trinity, were just German V2s with the swastikas taken off.
I don't doubt it.
But no, so the Germans had developed these literally early, because night vision was actually becoming a thing more by the end of World War II. People were experimenting with it. But the Germans were the first to actually take it from, binoculars or maybe something for aircraft and made a dedicated rifle mount for the STG. And there are even pictures of M2 carbines from Korea with these things on them as well. They're these big, ugly, bulky looking things with so it's a sight with two almost like headlamps for the infrared and night vision to actually give you the ability to see in the dark. I don't want to say they were practical because they did work, but they were heavy. It gave the gun an extra 5 to 10 pounds.
Jeez, dude.
I mean, they were.
Optics can get heavy, but that's
No, I mean that's how.
That's a full rifle.
But I mean, that's how early the technology was. I mean, this was highly experimental stuff.
Yeah. I like to think of night vision. I love night vision, dude. I want night vision so bad. I really want a set of nods, like a dual setup.
Yeah.
If they didn't cost $10,000, it'd be awesome. I like to, dude. I love night vision, bro. I like to think of night vision as like some weird redneck experiment. It's like, what? Well, I just want to fucking see at night, shoot at night. So we're gonna make some with some tubes and whatnot, and make us see.
You know, the funny thing was, is before I actually figured out where the night vision came from, I always thought it was a Marine thing. I always thought the Marines were the ones who came up with it. Like, and it doesn't.
I mean,
doesn't it sound like such a Marine invention?
Oh, for sure does. It for sure does. I mean, it's about as tactical as you can get. I get that, but I still like to think of it as just some redneck in the backwoods. Redneck ingenuity. You say, I don't fucking shoot at night, you know? We create something. They figured it out, but I didn't know night vision had been around that long, since like what you said, the late 40s.
Yeah, so
or like the
night
end of World War II, so mid 40s.
effectively end of World War II.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Yeah.
and of course, because like Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 5 actually put these sights in the game, and in their defense, they were there, but I mean, these were highly experimental pieces of kit that the Allies didn't really find until 45. Although I have heard reports that there were at least 2 such examples caught and captured during the Battle of the Bulge. Although I need to go double check that fact.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
Like,
that's one of those things that you need to refine that one if it's going to get put in use.
Yeah, and eventually you would. I mean, by the 60s and the 70s, night vision became far more attainable and far more practical, both in terms of weight and reliability. Because that was the other thing too. Like, this is not what we would think of as like modern, high quality night vision. I mean, this was more or less like there's like some lighting in the dark and you can barely see an outline of a figure. Like, it wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Like I said, highly experimental technology. But yes, that's not cursed, because that's not cursed. That was those STGs. Those were real.
I was shocked when I saw it.
Those are real production variations of Sturmgewehrs that were issued not en masse, but like there were a sizable chunk of them, because the idea was for armor and house to house fighting. Just poke the gun around the corner and go.
Dude, Demo Ranch did an episode where he got like some weird camera system that like looked around the corner for him and shot.
Yeah.
Did you ever see that one? It was a while ago. It was probably like 2 years ago.
I feel like I've heard of it at least. But no, yeah, like
Tommy,
and like I said,
go ahead.
like I said,
Go
no,
ahead.
that big ass mask looking thing was just a mirror that you could use to like peek around the corner with.
That's
so you knew
so
what you were
trippy,
shooting.
Have you seen the AR builds? The AR builds, quote unquote, it's not a fucking build. Where people get like the wood furniture of like an STG, or some like weird ass company will make like reproduction furniture of it, and they'll try to make their AR like a 5.56 look like an STG. Have you seen those?
I have, and
They're
I'm gonna do this as well, because
stupid.
this was also in the last episode of Cursed Gun Images. Someone took a CT,
It probably was, huh?
Someone took a CM3 or whatever it is, like the G3 derivative, and put furniture of an STG on it. But the sad thing is it didn't look like reproduction. Like, it looked like original STG front handguard, front sight barrel nut stuff that they just hammered to a G3 clone. And in my heart, it hurt. It didn't look terrible. Like, I'll say that right now. Like, it didn't look that bad. But it's just the idea that you were taking, again, a ball peen hammer to just beat this thing on.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I hate it when people try to like. It goes back to those memes. It's like, Mom, like, could we have STGs? Like, no, honey,
we have STG at home.
It's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. Dude, they're so bad. It's so ugly. I'll see if I can find it on that like your AR build sucks Instagram page. That shit's so funny, dude. Actually, Tommy and Matt, I don't know if you've seen it yet, Matt, but Tommy, I'm almost positive you probably have. I want to pick your brain on something. The new 7.5-inch Scar.
No.
Yuck.
No.
Yuck.
FNY.
Yuck. What the fuck? Dude,
I don't
first
know.
of all, here's the thing. I'm going to go on a little rant.
I need
to not go on a little rant, because I could do, this could be a long rant if I don't catch myself. Why the fuck would they make it in 5.56 instead of 300 blackout? Dude, a 7.5-inch barrel on a Scar?
For 5.56.
At that, bro, what? Like, what are they thinking?
You're losing 250 feet per second off muzzle velocity at a minimum.
Probably something like that. Yeah, dude, a 7.5-inch, dude, you probably shouldn't go below Actually, you shouldn't go below a 10.3 at Mark 18 for a 5.56.
And that's even that's pushing it. And even that's pushing it for the performance of 5.56.
I know. I mean, unless it's close quarters. If it's close quarters, dude, I'm taking a Mark 18 all day. But bro, the fact that FN made a baby scar, with a 7.5 inch
I'm looking
barrel
at it right now. That thing looks
filthy. It's filthy. I was gonna say, Matt, I saw you take out your phone. I was
looks
he's
vile.
It's filthy, dirty.
Dude.
It's filthy. You know who loves it, dude? Coleon Noir, dude.
I know.
Coleon Noir will like
He
anything
goes,
as long as you pay him enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say he'll like anything if it's FN or if it's what is it? I think he does a lot of Walther stuff too.
He loves Walther. He loves FN, and that's the thing too. Like, I normally respect a lot of his takes on stuff, but when he said like this is a great idea, I'm like, Coley, no, you're better than this.
Dude,
You're
it's
better
the
than
You're
worst
sliding
idea.
him $10,000 under the table. Just, say good things.
more than 10.
Oh yeah, no, easily.
It's a good idea in theory. The way they did it,
Yeah.
the caliber they did it in, is.
Tell you what,
really,
Garrett. I'm
really
gonna go to DSA and tell them to build me a 7.5 FAL.
Yeah.
And they're gonna say get out.
Oh my god, dude! Shooting a 308. I'd never speak to you guys. Shooting a 308 out of a 7.5 barrel. Don't go below a 12.5.
I know.
At that point, you're spitting flames. And honest to God, I probably wouldn't even go 12.5. Right? A lot of companies make 12.5 308s and stuff.
No,
for
you
super
need
compact,
16
which
inch
is
barrel.
cool.
You need a 16.
Yeah, I was
inch
gonna
barrel.
say, dude, 16 minimum. That's
Yep.
what my revolution is. It's 16,
My
and that's
my
even that.
M1A my
You can go
M1A
up to
is
like a
22.
24-inch barrel.
My M1A is a 22.
You can go up to like 22, 24 inches. That's what it should be.
Yep.
Dude, yeah, no, dude. The fact that people put, shorter barrels than even a 12.5, dude, I've seen like 8-inch 308 barrels. I don't know
Why?
where or like who makes them, but my brother in Christ,
Please.
have some respect for the people next to you that you're shooting with.
And that's even the thing of sound. Like, you're going to blind them
and you
with
know
a
what?
muzzle flash.
Dude, and here's the thing: they'll put a muzzle brake on it instead of a flash hider, right? So it's really thumping, bro. Yeah, dude. I mean, the fact that FN did that, made a 7.5-inch 5.56, the baby scar. It's like the 17S or something like that. I don't know what it's called. I really don't care what it's called. It's ugly. It doesn't even look good. That's the thing, The scar does not look good that short. It's just, I don't know.
It looks like it belongs in Fortnite.
Yeah.
All right, last gun I want to talk about real quick, because I just thought about this, because we've been going on about, ugly ass guns for however long this episode has been. The French Shosha, model of 1915, the alleged worst gun ever put into serial mass production. And in fact, American Doughboys said that this was the worst gun they ever shot. Although it's probably because they were using a variation built in 30-06, so it was even worse than the original. But during World War I, the French wanted as many light machine guns as they could get their hands on, and 3 of their top engineers from their state arsenals had been designing this gun for aircraft use, and then modified it for use on the ground. And then they got, and it's called the RSCG model of 1915. Shosha, Sutter, Riberoy, and Gladiator. And the last name Gladiator is because that was the place it was built at. But they were not an arms manufacturer, they were a bicycle manufacturer.
Oh my God.
That just became a gun
Good
manufacturer.
for them.
No,
Good
but-
for them.
no,
Good for
but,
them.
Garrett, I mean, you look. This thing is just built entirely out of sheet metal with like a wood knob and 2 wood plates for the grip and the trigger and the trigger that you hold on to.
I do. You know what, dude? Now that you describe it like that, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was in Battlefield
certain.
1, and because it used 8mm Lebel, it had this weird like 20-round U magazine because of the way the cartridge was designed, and the gun probably gets a little bit of a bad rap because of its reliability. Because again, you throw mud on that thing like any auto-loading rifle from World War I, it's not going to work. But it wasn't that bad. It's just ugly as.
Just ugly as shit.
It's
dude.
just ugly. It's just disgusting. And then the US in 30-06 was just so rapidly built, it was just unreliable. Like the gun, almost because of the way they had like designed the gas port on it, it just could barely run 30-06.
It just didn't work. It wasn't meant to work.
No, it wasn't.
30-06. I know what gun you're talking about now.
And again, like, shout out to the French. They built 150,000 of them during the war, and they were used to great effect. I'm still allowed to make fun of it because it's disgustingly ugly.
Yeah. But Matt, do you have any guns that you hate with a passion. I got my
I
two
mean,
out of the way. The
I just
P90
really
and that
hate
Scar.
anything Kel-Tec or High Point, and I've openly shit on
yeah.
people that are willing
Hey-o, we
willing
like
to
KSGs.
buy
We
either
like
of those
KSGs,
things.
Matthew. We
Okay,
like
well, yeah,
KSGs.
except for the KSG, obviously, but that's
Can we just make the statement here that a KSG is not a Kel-Tec. A KSG is its own standalone shotgun.
sure. I'm down. I'm
Pretty
down
much.
for that.
I think the KSG and DP12 is a little bit more of a novelty gun in my opinion, but it's still pretty cool.
I'm not out to I'm not out to hate a ton of guns, but
I do. I have a lot of them.
if you can't differentiate cheap versus good value, then one, you shouldn't be buying a firearm,
Yep.
and two, you are probably
Don't settle.
the type of person that would go and openly buy a sub 2000 or the High Point Yeet Cannon.
I was just about to say a sub 2000. Dude, the Yeet Cannon's sick, bro. What are you talking about?
Literally pop metal, like you were saying earlier.
I'll literally end this meeting right now, dude.
Can we?
Disgusting.
I don't know, man. I kind of think High Point's funny at this
It is.
stage in my life because people, dude, like literally, like Demo Ranch, he'll buy them and he'll shoot them with a 50 cal to see like how many they can go through, or like he'll clog the barrel, he'll clog the barrel with rebarred cement, and see if it'll shoot. And surprisingly, dude, most of them still work, right? It's always weird because those things are either indestructible or 100 rounds later the thing doesn't work, right? It's one of the two. There is no median ground of like reliable working. So, yeah, I kind of want to get a High Point. I'm not gonna lie. I wanna go in there, buy one for like $150, whatever it is, and just toss it in the dumpster, just to save somebody.
You know what I would love to do with a High Point? Could you imagine if gun stores had some free samples like Costco and shit does? Remember the Ron?
Free
remember the Ron Swanson episode where he goes into like that vegan
thank you.
supermarket, throws it in the trash?
More, please.
May I have another?
I would
sir,
love
would
to
you
do that with
would you-
High Point.
Another,
It's like,
please.
would you like to sample
love
our High Point, sir? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Another, please.
Another, please.
Sir, is
He
there
goes,
something wrong?
"Another."
Yes, I'm just trying to make sure that nobody ever has to buy this.
Well, we can't
Dude,
give you any
man,
more
I'll be
samples. I'll have
positive.
one. And then she throws it in the trash.
Dude, I love it.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. Or just remember when Ron gets shot in the head with the shotgun when Tom shoots him in the head.
Oh, God.
And he has all the pellets in the back. Dude, that fucking show kills me.
God.
Bro. I love that show.
Oh my God.
But yeah. Tommy, if you could only choose one gun to hate right now, what's your most hated gun?
See, I've been giving this a lot of thought because I have like my problem is somebody who loves the firearms technology. Like even the guns that I hate, I can't really hate that much because I find them novel in some ways. But if I had to choose just one, I would probably say the gun that I want to hate most of all. This might come as a surprise for some, and maybe might piss other people off. I hate the PPS 43, actually.
Really? That's not what I was expecting to hear. But okay, I'll
So-
take that as a valid answer.
So, but here's why. I am such a COD World at War fanboy that the 41, the Spagen, the Pupasha, is my end-all, be-all favorite submachine gun, like, ever. And I understand why the Russians go to the PPS 43. And I understand that it's not a bad gun. It's a very good gun. Don't get me wrong. I'm still allowed to hate it because it's just a bunch of sheet metal and not my beloved 71-round drum.
So, that thing is so cool. That's an interesting choice.
But
It's
I
an
just
interesting choice.
can't.
I'll
I
take
just
that.
have to. Because again, like they're. And again, I almost looked at buying a reproduction one in the 7.62 Tokarev, but I just. And again, there's nothing wrong with the guns. They're good. They're
Don't buy a
good.
reproduction one. Find an original.
I can't afford an original. That's why I have the.
I was gonna
1840.
say I know.
But I just like again, there's nothing wrong with them. They're fantastic guns. I'm still allowed to hate it because the 41 is better.
yeah, you can hate a good gun. I don't like the P90, and it's in all honesty, it's a fantastic.
And there's
gun. I just
nothing
think
wrong with it.
I just think they're disgusting, dude. You know?
Oh, and you're
It's not my
100%.
least. It's not
You're
my least
100%.
favorite.
You're 100% right in that. And trust me, I want to fully be on board with an IWI to war, but it's a bullpup, so that trigger pull is terrible.
Whoa. No, dude. You goddamn it, we're gonna get into an argument. Tavor triggers are not bad.
they're still
Have you ever shot
bullpup.
one?
Yes, I've shot one, but they're still.
I know. It's still
bullpups.
Doggy dog. Bro. Geisley makes a trigger for the Tavor, and it is crispy.
I've never shot a Geisley trigger on a Tavor though.
Look it up. Well, there you go.
Yeah, but
You
isn't
got
that
some-
something you have to
some
change
homework. I told
after
Tommy
you
something
buy
for
it and
once.
not when you get it from the start, right?
Now you
Oh,
can get
can
it
you?
from the store, I think.
You can
I think-
order them special.
I think a lot of them come with it.
Because
honestly.
again,
Tavor triggers aren't bad, dude. The reset's actually very, very short and crispy.
I don't mind
For a bullpup.
mind the trigger, but it's still the bullpup trigger, and that is the
I know,
only
it's still
reason.
mushy.
That is the only reason why I will not say that a Tavor is my favorite AR platform, because they're fun. They're so nice. I would really love to own one, and I would love to turn it into a battle rifle from Halo, just because I can. Can you just imagine walking into a gun range and pulling that out of your bag? It's even got the ammo counter on it, and everyone's like,
I'm gonna recreate the Needler.
Oh God.
I'm gonna find out an idea. The first reproduction Needler.
Don't
in
worry,
commercial production.
We'll figure it out, and we'll make sure that it has the
Nothing's
exploding
flat.
function.
I was gonna say has to. You could put a little potassium nitrate in there or something. Whatever
shoots-
makes it go boom.
It just shoots.
put some magnesium.
Just
or something.
shoots tannerite,
Oh my god! Yeah, mix the tannerite and put it in.
or not tannerite, thermite. It just shoots thermite.
Oh God. Let me think. So my hatred's much more primal and basic. I'm locked on to. Well, okay, hold on. I have a couple. Well, obviously that. I hate the Yeet cannon with a passion, but the thing that I hate the most, I think, out of everything, are this is a more of a phenomenon that people are doing because it's cheap and they can do it. But the dealers online that sell like all the crap Turkish reproduction imports of like the 1911 or these shitty $150, $250 shotguns, like the oh god,
I have a bone to pick with him here. Hold on. So finish your statement, man. We'll talk about this.
They're vile. I mean, there are some Turkish guns that are great, like Canik. I will simp for Canik any day of the week, but just because you can recreate something from some foreign manufacturer and bring it into the country at like $150 a pop, $250 a pop, that doesn't mean it's good. That just means it's like a Keltec. Why get it? Why get it when it's cheap when you could get something that's better for value?
You clearly have never shot a Gerzon made anything, Matthew.
Well, no. Why have I? Why? Go ahead.
So let me ask you this then. Let's look at something like a Beretta M9. Beautifully made, Italian, 15+1, 9mm handgun. Fairly expensive, between $700 and $900. Why would I buy that when I can buy a Gerzon for about $450? Same quality, same reliability, same aesthetic look. The only thing that's different is it wasn't made in Italy. And I say I can't afford a nice Beretta, and I have to go with the Gerzon.
You don't. Well, you don't. Okay. Well, hold on.
Get your money up.
Well, hold on. Yeah, exactly. Get your money up. You never have to buy.
Stop being poor. That's
You never have to buy a pistol just because you can't. Okay. Just because you can buy something at a cheaper price doesn't mean you should buy it. Oh, I want a Beretta, but I can't afford the Beretta. Okay, just wait until you can get it. If that's what you want, wait until you get it. Don't settle for something that's not it. I wanted an AR that I felt that was going to do me.
Your argument is falling on deaf ears because, especially when it comes to Gerzon, hell, Gerzon makes MP5 reproductions that are exquisitely done. The only difference is they're not made by H&K. They don't have the price mark of an H&K.
Tommy, here's the thing.
There's no.
Up there.
We lost him.
Yeah, I think his laptop just.
He knew he was gonna lose, so he had to leave.
He said, "Oops!" Oh, my bad. No, his laptop, I think, overheated because he's sitting. He's sitting outside. It's 99 degrees here, and
hey, shout out to him.
Yeah, he's sitting outside by the pool or whatever, and his computer overheated. So I'm pretty sure he'll be back.
I get it.
That's just my thing. I personally would not buy something else. With the exception of the Canik, because the Canik, I believe, isn't it a Walther clone? It's either a Walther or a Glock.
Hybrid. they're like hybrid Walther Glock.
Yeah, they do. They have their own takedown system too, which is interesting. But
Exactly.
they have their own unique take. And again, I've never shot that brand that you've mentioned. What's it? How do you pronounce it?
Girsan.
Girsan.
It's like Girsan. A couple of my aunts Gersans.
I've never. Yeah, again, I've clearly never shot a Girsan.
And again,
my opinion might change if I shoot it. But okay, let's talk about.
I would 100% agree with you. I would 100% agree with you if the quality was bad. But with
that was what I'm trying to get at. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like okay, here you go. SDS Imports for their 1911s,
Yes.
right?
Terrible.
Why would you? Okay, here's another one. G-Force and their shotguns.
Yep.
Disgusting. No, they're cheap. Pieces of
see,
crap.
I am 100% agree with you. I'm 100% agreeing with you. You should not.
That was the point that I'm trying to make. I'm not saying all of them are like that,
hold
but
on. He's FaceTiming in.
he's gonna be like, dude, my
Garrett, we lost
laptop's out.
I know, dude. My computer just crashed.
Oh, crazy! How'd I know?
You were right.
Crazy! How'd I know?
Dude, my computer go. I texted Matt too. I'm gonna get this thought out. Some reproductions are good, right? Can they hear me?
Yeah,
I think we were just saying that.
My computer just took shit on me. Hey, see, really do. Some reproductions can be fantastic.
Tell Garrett to get on Rivers, or just to get on the Riverside thing on his phone through Discord.
Some other very, very bad reproductions, like some of those 1911s and stuff. And so, Tommy, you are right.
And Garrett, that's exactly what Matt and I are talking about right now. Like those SDS Import 1911 clones or those G4 shotgun clones are horrible. They're terrible.
Yeah, so I was gonna say I agree with you. Hold on, dude. I think I can join Riverside.
That's what Matt said to do. Just do that. And you'll be
It's
back.
like I
in
could see
2
into the
seconds,
future
okay?
or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
Easy there, Master.
Yeah.
Mastradamus. Goddamn. All right. But like, because like again,
That's what I hate. I hate when
agree with
people
you.
make clones but they don't put any effort into it. That's my point.
You know what the funny thing is too? Turkey is becoming like so. This is going to be only something that I know, but like people will also start to understand what I mean after I talk about this a little bit more. During the 1900s, there was a place in Spain called Ibar. It's a region in northwest Spain, very rich in iron manufacturing, and was full of knockoff gun makers forever. They would just make all these different types of revolver clones and later simple blowback 32s. They're absolutely atrocious in their quality, but people still bought them because they were cheap.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. You should not be sacrificing your need of a firearm for something that is just a gun, as Garrett and I like.
Garrett's hanging on by a freaking thread. his video's cutting in and out. Oh
Hold
God,
on,
dude.
Talk shit real quick. Hold on. What'd you say?
You're like on a thread, bro.
Your technology is just holding on by a damn thread.
He's got like a
Dude, my computer just
hamster.
crashed. My computer just crashed. You hate to see it. It's my fault. I'll take it. Everyone bash me in the comments if you really want to. I don't care. I mean, we're pretty much at the end anyway.
Let's. I say, Garrett, why don't you give us your final thoughts about today's episode? Honestly, that was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Hate the baby scar with a passion. That's all I want to say because it angers me. So
It does anger me.
That's my number one right now because for the sole fact that they didn't make it in a 300 blackout hurts me with a 7.5-inch barrel. Regardless.
Oh, it's so dumb. So dumb.
Tommy, your final thoughts?
To my friend watching, if you will know who you are. If you buy that Keltec, I'm gonna come up to David and slap you silly.
Me too. He's gonna be like, I can take that guy. I'll be like, you're probably right. But everyone, thank you for watching episode 9. That was a lot of fun. We kind of bounced around a lot of different topics there, but that's just part of the banter. See what I did there? If you enjoyed, drop a like. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out on YouTube, Rumble, and all audio platforms, including Apple Podcasts, because I finally got that working.
Nice.
Matt, don't quit your day job, buddy.
And but
Take care, everyone.
Take care.